again, ladies and gentlemen, with the NRRRL wrap with the Gingy and Foxy. Back here after a very big round of football, round 10 of the NRRRL.
Big round 10.
Big round. We're a bit close tonight, Foxy. I feel like I'm sitting in the Fox's pocket.
I feel a bit uncomfortable, actually.
It's up and close. Up and close night tonight with the Gingy and Foxy. We've got a studio issue, but we'll sort that out between now and next week. When haven't we not had a studio issue?
I know.
So
no, it's been good.
It's actually
we've got some new cameras. We've got some new
equipment.
We're
upgraded
stepping up in the world.
Upgraded.
Mr. Worldwide stepping up in the world.
Well, mate, I think the way we're going at the moment, we've actually gone pretty high level, high tech. You know, we've got sponsors ringing us up, wanting to bloody come on board. Goffy's following up. We've had Sportsbet ring.
Everyone wants to come on.
If you want to get into the NRRRL wrap and the Gingy and Foxy podcast, we'll get our contact. Will be in touch with you after this weekend, and no doubt we'll either. And if you don't want to take us up, that's okay too. Responsible gambling. We'll go to TAB. But anyway, look, all the bets to the side. We want to get on with the wrap now, mate. And
no special guest tonight, mate.
Mate, listen, we're going to have a bit of a free flow session tonight.
Me and you.
I think that's going to be. We haven't done this for a bit. We've had guests. Yeah, we've had a back-to-back. We've had a bit of a guest run. Is probably how you'd put it. So, one of those guests, I just want to say.
Where's my notes?
One of those guests that we had on a few weeks ago. As much as I hate to say this, one of those guests was an current NRL player in Cody Walker. Cody, my apologies, mate.
We're sorry.
We're sorry.
We're sorry, bro.
Not for the podcast that night or anything we did wrong, but South Sydney haven't won a game since we did that podcast with you, brother, and we hope in the next few weeks, or actually starting this weekend, we hope you can turn it all around, mate. Bounce back. I know you're going to be out with, I think the Trill Mitt's out for a bit.
Trill Mitt's out.
So, Cody, hopefully you're watching. We know you do. You're an avid watcher of the NRRRL wrap. So
looking at yourself in the monitor.
I know. What about that? I can't help it. It's all this new tech we got.
Checking himself out.
Yeah, checking myself out. But anyway, look, we're going to jump straight into it, as we do always. We're going to start with the. It's going to be hard. I'm just going to do this because it's only one end because we're so close tonight. It's the NRRRL wrap. Here we go.
Around the ground.
Around the grounds. Oh, I'm stuffing up everywhere tonight. But anyway,
all this new equipment's got me flustered.
High tech does it to you. So, mate, let's just jump straight into the round 10 games for the weekend, mate. I'll tell you.
Did you do your homework?
Honestly?
Yeah.
Not really. I say that with hand on heart. I did watch not as many games as probably what I'd like to. I did watch a couple of games that had a fair bit of interest for me. Yeah. But, mate, I will say this. This round threw out a few, I suppose, not left field results, but a few results that people probably thought going into the round weren't going to be as close and as what they were. And also probably the other thing out of that round is there was a couple of teams that got some good wins that I think some people are still sceptical about the performance of those clubs. Yeah. So, look, we'll get into it.
Let's leave those big games for last and let's get straight into it. Let's to the Tweed Coast versus Mullumbimby game.
Tweed Coast versus Mullumbimby. Mate, Tweed Coast ended up running out. I actually thought this was going to be a bit closer. Mullumbimby has had a great start to the season. They've struggled the last few weeks. They've had a couple of big weeks back to back, but a 20-10 win.
No, mate, that's wrong. It was actually 32-12.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Yeah.
32-12 to the Tweed Coast Raiders. So based on that, mate, you obviously watched the game. What'd you get?
I watched the game. I think Mullum's run in the top's coming to an end. Is what I'm thinking just from.
Is it numbers?
Watching that game. I don't know if it's numbers. I don't know if their reserve grade's still running around competitively. I'm not too sure about that. But I just, from watching Mullum the last 2 weeks, I don't think they're going to be there come the end of the season.
So you think some other teams are going to push forward?
I think some other teams are going to push forward in front of them.
it'll be interesting in a minute because we're going to go to the table and we'll have a look at that table in first grade as it stands. But it's interesting to say that. I mean, I was really encouraged by Mullum's start to the season, and I think when you get away to a start like that in the season, you've got to hope a couple of things. One of those things is consistency with your playing group, and the second thing out of that is, making sure and ensuring that you have one of those injury-free runs. And there could have been a couple of injuries. I know they've had a couple of players leave. They've had Willie Hammond that's left their club and gone to Brothers, and I think they've retained most of their squad, but maybe those could be a couple of things that are playing a bit of a factor in the back end of Mullumbimby's season. In saying that, obviously 32-10, 12 win or whatever it was, to Tweed Coast. Tweed Coast, obviously, we played them 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. What did you base their performance on, mate?
On the weekend?
Yeah.
I just thought they were really good. They were always in control of the game. Their fullback was good. That fullback,
yeah, he's good.
I thought he was really good again on the weekend. He had some good touches there from what I've seen in the mini game. So yeah, I just thought Tweed were just too good for Mullum.
That's good, mate. Yeah. So getting into the next game, mate.
Murwillumbah versus Casino.
Mate, 66 clickety-click to 6.
6-6.
Casino's
mercy rule into a play.
They mercied them?
I think it was with a minute to go or something like that. So it happened late.
You've come such a long way. Mate, you're actually watching these games now, and you're actually really putting out there, these, not just the scores anymore, but you're actually having a bit more of an in-depth look. So I'm proud of you, mate. I think all those lessons and all that hard work I've put in our pre-season to get you to this point is actually starting to pay off, which is great. So 66 to 6.
The score speaks for itself.
Yeah, there's not much to say.
I might have something in the whatevs with Casino that I was just hearing around the Curry grapevine.
Okay, well, good. I'll be interested to hear.
Tell everyone what the Curry grapevine is, Chris.
Yeah, well, mate, it's a bit of a yarn. Some people say it's a gossip.
We don't know if it's true.
There are some grapes that fall off the tree that are actually full of fruit.
Yeah.
Tastes really good, but there are some rotten grapes that fall off that Curry grapevine as well, which lead you down a garden path. And sometimes get you into trouble. Yeah. So,
But I don't know if they're true or not. There's just
we'll get to the whatevs and we'll pull out. We'll flesh that out a bit. How about that?
But obviously, their reserve grade forfeited 2 on the weekend, which is not a good sign for Casino.
Oh, jeez, mate. That's not a good thing for Casino because their reserve grade actually were going pretty good.
They're in the top 4, I think.
Yeah, okay. There you go. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
So, mate, 66 to 6. Casino season's over. Murwillumbah's still fighting. I mean, I wrote them off, but I think you never give anyone. As much as I've wrote, I still don't think they can make the 6. But they've proven me wrong the last few weeks, and they've had a couple of good wins back to back.
I think they can make the 6 if they want. It all depends on the next few weeks. They need to get a bit of a run going though if they're gonna.
Have they got any cattle back? Like players, that is.
I'm not too sure, mate.
You're not up to date with my terminology.
What's the young fella's name that you've been giving raps on from Murwillumbah?
Simply Red.
Yeah, he was good.
He was good.
Yeah,
mate, he's been their best player. If he doesn't get their player first grade and best and fairest, mate, I haven't seen. There's no other player in that team that I think would be more deserved. He's a great. Mate, if he's looking for another club next year, I know I'll be willing to give him a bit of a talk to and get him over to Northern. But anyway. That's it. Getting on, mate.
We'll move on from that one. Byron Bay versus Kyogle.
Mate.
Did you get to check this one out?
28-22.
Well, I had 24-22, but it could have been 28-22.
28-22 in the roundup.
Yep. 24, was it?
24. There you go. Oh, jeez, I've made some mistakes.
I'm
scrapping my notes. Okay, so 24-22. A lot closer to my people. What do you write into that?
Mate, I just found it boring, mate. I found it pretty boring, that game.
Byron's...
They're still in
the 6.
I expect Byron to be flying this year, but Kyogle's had a few struggled games this year, and I thought, Byron might really...
Did they come close to their first win?
They came close to their first win, mate. 24-22.
Could be a second win, actually.
It could be a second win, yeah.
Yeah. So 24-22, close game, bludger.
Something's going wrong at Byron. I don't know what. They've got some quality players there, but they're just not firing.
Mate, the only thing I could say about Byron Bay at the moment, as long as Mickey Foster doesn't put his boots on, that would be the detriment to that club. But Mickey, please don't suit up.
He won't be able to have conversations with you on the sideline if he does that.
Oh, I don't think I'll see Mickey for the rest of the season, mate.
But yeah, I don't know what's happening in Byron. Obviously you still got players like Dylan Montgomery, Tomo.
I can't work it out.
Todd Carney
playing nine.
Still playing 9.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Find a 9.
So
Byron,
I don't know
seriously.
what's happening at Byron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Look, they're 1 week away from. It's 1 week away from cut-off time from that wonderful date. Actually, it's 2 days away from that wonderful day called 30 June. So if everybody hasn't moved by now, they're not going anywhere for the season. That's it. They're stuck. So if Byron haven't found a 9 by now, they're not going to find one.
No. Okay, Evans Head versus Lower. Did you watch this one, mate?
Mate, I did.
I know you did.
I did.
I know you did.
Obviously. Mate, it was a Saturday game, obviously, and down at Evans Head.
Down at Evans Head.
Mate, I think Lower scored the first try.
Lower scored the first try.
And I thought at that point, Lower could have. I thought they were going to be in for a good game.
Well, I thought that too.
But then Evans Head, mate, consistency. They've had 3 consistent weeks, back to back to back. They've had some big wins
at the right time of the year.
At the right time of the year, it seems as though they've clicked. They're in good form, and form always speaks volumes in relation to results.
Roy Bell's running the show.
Roy Bell's at 7, mate. And I'll tell you what, he actually looks really good at 7. I think Mikey Kelly's playing 5'8". Fullback. Who's their 6?
Their 6, I believe. I don't know if it was last week, but the week before I seen Jared Waters playing in the 6.
Oh, there you go. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So
normally a front rower.
And then on top of that, you've got Tooley playing good at 9. And mate,
back row, the forward pack is just
the forward pack's actually starting to find a bit of discipline. Aiden Kennedy, best front rower in the competition at the moment. Do you think?
Maybe not the best, but he's up there in the top 5.
Yeah, he's up there, mate. He's a big body, and mate, defensively, the last 3 weeks teams have struggled to defend him. So
he scored a few. He scored a few meat pies too.
Yeah, mate. I think over the last few weeks he's scored about 6 tries. So his efforts. He's playing 80 minutes too, week in, week out. So he's fit. When you're fit, you're a big body. You score meat pies. Your form's good. So he's well backed up by his brother Kyle out at lock. I think his other brother's still playing at reserve grade. They've got an issue with point system down there. But interesting, they've got a couple of interesting ends. They've picked up 2 kids from Tweed Seagulls who's playing 18s for them at the moment. The fullback and a winger. I'm not quite sure what's happening with the young kid at Roberts. I think he could be injured.
Maybe injured or suspended.
So they've got a young kid playing in the wing that's played for Seagulls, and then their fullback as well. Tweed Seagulls 18-year-old.
I'm glad you told me that because I was watching the game and going, I wonder who these two
are. Yeah, they're 2 kids from Tweed Seagulls. So obviously they've come through that Tweed Seagulls system when they've now been pushed up into top grade footy with Evans Head, and they're both definitely handling that. So 46-22 win in the end.
46-22.
I got that one right.
Win from the Bombers.
Yeah, comfortable win for the Bombers, mate.
They were in control and they just outclassed them.
Yeah, they did, mate. They were too classy all over the park. I mean, and again, as good a start as what Lower has had to the season, they could be a little bit like Mullum. I mean, I think they could have a few injuries and stock's not too great beyond their 17. I know they've got a good group of young players coming through in a development mode, but at the moment the last couple of weeks they've just seemed to have gone off the boil.
So that was 46-22, as we said.
Yep.
Mate, our next game, Bilamble versus Ballina.
Mate, my prediction was this was going to be a close game. I said 4 points in the game. It was 2 points.
It was a tough game.
24-22. What did you pick up on that, mate? What did you pick up on the game?
Mate, I thought it was a tough game, It was pretty close there for a while, but I thought the turning point of the game was straight after half-time. Bilamble come out and scored 2 tries straight after half-time, and I thought that really set them up for the win.
So on the back of that, did they have any crucial ins? Jack Durham
was in. I couldn't really tell who.
I know they've had an injury. I know they've had an injury to their halfback.
Yeah,
he's out, and he could be out. It could be out for a long period, or an extended period of time.
Back from an injury too.
So I think it could be a fracture. I don't know whether it was his arm or his leg or whatever, but it was a training drill. Yeah, apparently. I've got some good inside info from up there, and you know that you
got your contacts.
Exactly, I've got my contacts up at Blamble now. So
I don't really know too many of the Blamble players, but
mate, I heard also I'm going to throw this one. I don't know whether you would have seen it you would have seen it in the full game, but it wouldn't have been in the mini game.
I feel like I've got to move back because I can't look at you properly.
You can. It's all good. But I'm hearing there was a bit of a blue. A couple of players on report.
In the game?
Yeah.
There you go. They didn't show that in the mini game.
Young kid of Hansen. Is it Hansen?
Hayden Hansen.
Yeah, Hayden and one of the Ballina forwards.
Ex-Ballina player.
Hayden. Yeah, and one of the Ballina forwards apparently... don't know if punches were thrown, push or shove or whatever, but they both got... I don't know if they're on report, but they both got sin bin, so there was a bit of a kerfuffle in the game. So that showed the intensity, I'd say, in both these teams are playing. Obviously, Blamble were playing to push forward in the competition. Ballina playing to sustain a spot at the top of the ladder. Based on that game and that result, they're now equal first in a three-way equal first.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get to that later. So, tough game. We sort of knew it would be that way. It did play out that way.
Ballina got a couple of late tries, but I thought Blamble were in control straight after half-time and ended up going away with the game. And then Ballina got a couple of late
Congratulations to Blamble. You've progressed your way through, and no doubt Ballina, you'll go away from there and they'll work hard, the boys, and Barnesville will be, watching the videos for this weekend. And mate, did you end up getting back to Barnesy didn't he ring you to get some inside info about the Blamble team?
He asked for some inside information, and I gave him your number.
You gave me my number. The worst thing about that, if he would have rang me, my comment would have been, Barnesy, when we played Blamble, I was in hospital. So I couldn't have given him too much about that. But anyway, Blamble progress 24-22 over Ballina, and they'll both move on to round 11 this week. So next game, mate.
Yes, good win, Blamble. Next game is Northern and Coogin at Coogin.
Mate, 28-10.
28-10.
Northern United.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that from a coaching point of view, I was always confident in one thing, that we'd provide a good performance. We seem to be building some good momentum in the competition, but we're also building good momentum within the playing group. We've had one of those consistent years with this particular playing group. We haven't had too many changes. We've got through the season pretty much unscathed. We've had a few niggles, but we've been able to fill that. We've got a squad of about 18, 19 blokes, and those blokes are all, definitely first graders. We utilise those young kids in our under 18s as well when needed. But mate, I was confident. I backed our boys in our defence, and I've been saying that for a few weeks now. We've put a really big effort into our defensive efforts at all stages in a game, and I just think the way we executed our first half was really good with the ball. I'm going to put a big call out here. I think young Willow James was outstanding.
He was good.
I'm not quite sure how he's not getting a call up to Tweed Seagulls, but at the end of the day, mate, whatever they're not calling him up, I'm happy to have him every week in first grade for me. He was outstanding on the weekend. Coogin were they was tough, mate. They were strong. Big
Still
team.
Missing Caleb Zeeble.
Yeah, mate. He was their only out though.
Yeah.
Caleb Zeeble was their only out. They actually went into this game pretty much full strength by him. So that being said, their forward pack was still, pretty potent. Mm-hmm. But credit to our boys, mate. We may not have had the size on these guys, but we've got a great working group. Coogin tested us at every point of this game. They definitely played out the 80 minutes, and so did we. I mean, it's the first time I think in a few weeks we've put out not a 70-minute effort or a 60-minute effort. We actually put out an 80-minute effort on the weekend, and from that we got the result that we want. We went up there to get, and no disrespect to Coogin, but I think we were just a better team on the day.
I think a lot of people are getting a shock too with the way Northern's playing this year. You know, they're a very disciplined team.
Yep, they are, mate.
So
we worked on that area.
The ref doesn't get involved in the game whatsoever. They try to not worry about the ref.
Look,
and their defence, mate, it's just. I think it's top notch at the moment.
Yeah, it is, mate, and it's going to have to be because, as you know, Les, the next few games, we've got a pretty tough. Mm-hmm. Our defence has to be on par every game, and then on the back of that, you can play some footy. So we know we can play footy, but everything's based on the back of what we do in our D. And I couldn't be more happy than the way that we performed on the weekend. And as I said, that's no dish on Coogin, mate. Great football team. They're going to be up there in that 6, no doubt. And they've got a couple of tough weeks ahead too, with some games against, I think, Bilambil and Evans Head and Tweed Coast as well. So, there's some tough football ahead for these teams out of that round on the weekend.
That's what you want, though, isn't it? Going into the back end of the season. Yeah,
mate. And we've had a tough few weeks, so we've got another tough game this weekend, and we'll get into that very shortly. But, mate, that would be the rounds
good win to Northern.
Yeah, mate, good win. I'm happy with that, and we'll go in and prepare good with this week for the rest of this week, and then go into the game this weekend against Evans Head at home. Talking about that, mate, that would be around the grounds.
Around the grounds.
So here we go. Well, let's get into
look into next
week's round, mate. I'm gonna throw this over to you. I mean, you're doing a good job tonight too. I'm letting you lead a bit tonight, so it's good.
Yeah, I'm learning my craft.
That's great, mate. That's great.
All right, I'm going to leave the blockbuster game till last one. I think is going to be the blockbuster game. Ballina versus Murwillumbah at Ballina.
Mate, Ballina's off the back of a tough game. They've had 2 weeks off before their game against Bilambil too, I might mention, so they could have been a bit rusty. So that game under their belt.
I think young Ciro was back on the weekend.
So that game under their belt, mate, as good as what Murwillumbah's last couple of weeks in has been, I think it's going to be tough. Ballina at Ballina, they're going to look for the bounce back. They're going to have to bounce back to stay in the top 2. So my money's on Ballina, but here's the but. Form speaks for itself. Ballina's had 2 weeks off. They've had a tough game against Bilambil. Murwillumbah's gone back-to-back wins.
Yep.
I think they're going to show up, and I think this is going to be a tough game.
Mate, I think Ballina's going to win, and they're going to win comfortably because it's an old.
This could end Murwillumbah's season too. By the way,
there's reunions on down there galore. I think they're going to turn it on this weekend.
Okay,
and
it's on Saturday.
It's on Saturday. I think first grade kicks off at 5:45.
Yep, 5:45.
What? 3:45. First game at 12 o'clock.
There you go.
All right. And so they got a reunion for the 2013 Premiership winning team.
Did you play in that team?
No, I played 2015.
We've got a couple of players that play for
We've got a couple of boys there.
Alwyn Roberts was the captain.
Alwyn Roberts was. I think Greg Ryan was the captain.
Oh, was he? And then the other bloke that played in that game is Clarence Kelly. Yeah.
So big day down there. I think it's the 1993. Was it 1993? Yep. Premiership winning team. And
no. 2013.
2013 and 1993.
Oh, okay, there you go.
When Mikey John was playing. Mikey Roberts.
I'll tell you what. If Mikey John's going to that reunion, they better have plenty of grog.
So yeah. And there's an under-18 team too. I'm not too sure. I think it's 20 years.
Okay, so they're doing a couple of reunions.
There's about 3 teams they're doing for.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a massive
to which neither of those teams that they're going to be celebrating, we played in.
No.
Yeah, that's
we didn't play in any.
There you go.
I have to wait.
So we're not going. I'll be coaching, by the way.
Yeah. So we're not going. Next game. Casino versus Byron Bay. At Casino.
Byron. Yep.
Yeah.
Close.
Just
close
like
game.
Last week.
I think Casino could be in that one.
Yeah. Kyogle versus Tweed Coast. At Kyogle.
Mate, it all depends. I'm saying Tweed Coast, but if the Turkeys can turn another performance on like they did against Byron, I think they could. The Turkeys could be one of those teams this back end of these last 6 rounds.
Upset a few people
could upset
and could say
so
semi-finals.
So Tweed Coast are going to have to be on their game and don't go down to Kyogle underdone. You're going to have to take your best team to beat Kyogle.
Definitely. Mullumbimby versus Coogin at Mullumbimby.
I'm saying Coogin.
This is a big game for Mullum. Like, they could prove me wrong this week. I've written them off and said they're not going to make the semis.
I'm not writing them off. I'm saying Coogin.
Okay, I'm saying Coogin too. Yeah.
If I was Coogin too, and Caleb Zeeble was ready to come back this week, I'd tell him to take the week off and come back next week.
Yeah, me too.
That's just me. That's what I do from a coaching point of view. But you don't have to take my advice, Coogin. It's just that's a coaching thought.
Lowell Clarence versus Marsh Brothers.
Lower. Where is it?
At Lower.
Lower. Yeah.
And the blockbuster that I'm going with this weekend is the NAIDOC round. Northern United hosting Evans Head Bombers.
Mate, I think this is the match of the round.
I think it's
and in saying that, it's on Saturday at Clifford Park. It's the NAIDOC round between the two clubs.
Yep.
Both clubs are going along in this competition quite well at the moment. I think Evans Head's sitting fourth. Northern United are sitting in a three-way battle for first spot. We're all on equal points. It's for and against that splits, which puts us at third at the moment. I think this weekend, as much as it's a must-win game for Evans, it's also a must-win game for Northern because it keeps us in that mix of the top three. But more importantly, it keeps us in that mix of the equal first position. And who knows, depending on some results, we could actually go up the ladder. It's our home game. I'm not cocky, but I'm confident in our ability to get the job done should we, execute our game plan and our defence is in order.
Yeah, mate, I agree. I'm going to go Northern in a tough game. Yep. So that's it, mate. That's our round 11 matchups.
The round 11 matchups, how good's that? That's another great round. A football ahead of us. I think the telling tale in this competition will be in the next 3 weeks. But these last 6 weeks are quite exciting for the competition. The matchups pushing forward. You've got an Evans Head versus Ballina game. You've got an Evans Head versus Coogin game. You've got a Balamble versus Coogin game coming up.
Another Northern United versus
another Northern. The last game of the round is Evans Head and Northern down at Evans. So, mate, this mashup of this competition in these last 6 weeks is going to be red hot. Again, hats off to the NRRRL for the way this draw's panned out this year. I think it's. I can't say that the top 6 is settled. I think the top 3 are near settled. But the way the competition is structured, as we heard from Harrow last week, it's the top 2 that are secured, two bites. And then the bottom 4 will be playing out for cutthroat and cutthroat footy after that in that first few weeks of the semi-finals.
Yeah. So if you're doing nothing on Saturday, get down to Crozier Oval.
Yeah.
It's kick-off NAIDOC week.
Clifford
Park. I'm going old school there. Crozier
old school, mate. I was a bit worried. I thought you knew something that I didn't know. But
sorry,
anyway,
everyone.
Clifford Park.
Get down there on
Saturday.
Saturday.
First game starts normal time, 10:50.
10:50
for league tag.
First game, so
and 2:45 start for first grade. 2:45 for first grade, and there's also going to be some NAIDOC stalls there. You're going to have a lot of activities. It's going to be a great day. You're going to have after every match, you're going to have a player of the match awarded. Nice. $100 in each grade on the table for the player of the match in each grade.
I might have to tell Matty to carve up.
And it's not picked by you or me. It's actually picked by the referees.
Oh, yeah.
We would go to Mark Goff, but he can't do 2 jobs at once. He's not a woman. He can't be multitasker. So we're going to hand this one to the officials, and they'll come off at the end of each game, and there'll be a presentation made to the player of the match in each grade. No speeches, just a presentation to the player of each grade. And they'll receive a medallion and $100. So how good's that?
Nice. And Norman's wearing his strip.
Yeah, mate, I'm not quite sure about Evans Head, but we've got our NAIDOC strip on this weekend. We'll wear that for the next 3 weeks because apart from this NAIDOC game, we've got another NAIDOC game the week after against Morris Brothers, and then the following week a NAIDOC game at home again against Lower Clarence.
Nice.
So, it's good for the club, it's good for the competition, and I know a lot of other teams are celebrating NAIDOC week as well next week and this week.
More the better.
Yeah, and it's going to be
all you other clubs out there.
Yeah, jump in and get on board. It's a good week to participate. And
I saw on one of the Byron Bay's Instagram posts, they got their NAIDOC jersey ready to roll.
Oh, how good's that?
It looked beautiful too.
That's another thing. If any clubs that have got their NAIDOC jumpers, post it up. Send it in to me and send it into Goffy. Goffy will flick out our email details. Drop it into and show it. Give us a look at your NAIDOC jumpers.
Yeah.
And next week we'll actually do a bit of a yarn about and some of these NAIDOC.
The Northern United on their jersey, what they wear every week.
Mate, the Northern United NAIDOC jumper actually has a story to it. And what we might do is take a photo of that as well and send it through to Goffy, because what we'd like to do for those clubs, being a special week this week and next week in NAIDOC rounds, is we're gonna show the clubs jumpers, their NAIDOC jumpers, and if they have a storyline to it, and whoever designed your jumpers, let's give them a plug as well.
Yeah,
so.
Sure.
There you go. That's a shout out to all the clubs to get involved in that NAIDOC rounds in the next 2 weeks. And
for those of you that aren't, next year.
Yeah, next year. We're definitely going to be going to both me and Les and in the NRRRL wrap. We're going to be going to the group to present to them an opportunity to be involved in an Indigenous round, which I think is going to be a great concept if we can get it up. It can be played on the June long weekend when there's no footy. So. There's a lot of good things to look forward to, and hopefully, we'll see the NRRRL get engaged in these sort of concepts moving forward. So, that being said, that's the next week's round. And, mate, what we want to jump into now, though, let's just have a look at the whole competition just quickly.
Yep. Have a look at this.
And we're going to do it a bit different. We're just going to go to the top six of each grade.
Each grade.
So, based on we're up to round 10 in the competition. And this will give you a bit of an indication as to how close the competition is in certain grades, but more importantly, what the back end of your season for your club might look like. So, in Ladies League Tag, we've got competition leaders Coogin on 18, followed by Balamble on 16. They're closely followed by Brothers who are doing really well in the Ladies League Tag. They're
always up there in the Ladies League Tag.
Yeah, mate. They're on 15.
Yep.
They're closely followed by Ballina on 13. And then Tweed Coast Raiders are on 14 points. And rounding out the 6 is Northern United on 12.
Ooh.
So that's the...
Were they with anyone else or they were outright in 6?
Oh, I think, no, they're outright in 6.
Okay.
So they're outright in 6. I think they're in 6th spot by 2 points.
It's very close, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a close competition, that Ladies League Tag competition, and no doubt the next 6 weeks will tell the tale of what that could be the makeup of the 6, or I think there may only be changes, I think, in the bottom 3.
Okay.
So we'll see how that pans out over the next 3 to 4 weeks. We might keep an interested eye on that as we go over the coming weeks. So we'll jump into the 18s. The 18s, the way it rounds out. Now, this is a closely contested competition, mate. You've got, I think it's Murwillumbah Mustangs on 16 points. You've got, I think that's Tweed Seagulls on 16 points. Ballina on 16 points. Byron Bay on 16 points. And, sorry, not Ballina, that was Balamble on 16 points. Ballina's on 13 points. And then you finish out the tail end of that with Northern United on 12 points. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Les, and I actually think that's going to be the makeup of the top 6.
In the under-18s? In
the under-18s competition this year. The other teams are well below that. I think the closest team to Northern United is on 8 points. So the only thing that'll change in that space in the coming weeks will be those positions in that top 6, I'd say. So closely contested top 6 there in the 18s, and it's a great competition. I said this. I've been saying this. I said it to Harrow last week. You know, that under 18s competition. Credit to the clubs, credit to the kids, their families, and more importantly, you know, credit to the NRRRL for trying to, you know, their investment into this competition, because that's where the senior competition needs to invest in the back in the years moving forward. So great stuff there. Beautiful. Jump into the Reggies competition, mate. So the Reggies competition, we've got Bilambil on 18. Followed closely by the Wollumbar Mustangs on 18. Ballina also on 18 points. You've got Byron Bay on 14. Coogin on 12. And Marsh Brothers round out the 6 on 8 points. But here's the interesting fact. There are 4 teams under Marsh Brothers all sitting on 6 points.
Ooh, that's close, isn't it?
So I'd say right now the top 5 would be definitely retained.
Yep.
The next 4 weeks will determine who from the bottom part of this competition could possibly creep into the 6th spot, or brothers have to keep winning week in, week out to retain 6th spot. So, yeah, hotly contested. So, mate, even teams like Northern United could finish 6th if they win their next 4 or 5, you know, they're going to have to win nearly every game. But
every game.
Yeah, so, but it's closely contested, mate.
Yeah.
Closely contested for that last spot. And the last thing is the ladies' tackle, our favourite game.
Our favourite game.
Guess what?
When are we going?
Well, mate, we've got to go away in a few weeks. We've got
Magic Round.
We've got Magic Round, I think, in 2 weeks up at Tweed Coast. We'll be commentating that game. We'll have our, you know, cameraman Goffey up there as well. Mate, I can't wait for that. It's going to be such a good Saturday. That being said, mate, the semi-finalist in the ladies' tackle this year will be everyone. So every team that's in the ladies' tackle this year, the 6 teams have made. Congratulations to every one of those teams. You've made the top 6.
Beautiful.
So just keep going in, week out, playing the game, getting through to the final series. I thought the grand final for this was going to be played earlier.
Do you know who's on top of the ladder?
Yeah, I do. Lower Clarence.
Lower Clarence.
Yeah,
I think
mate,
they're undefeated, mate. I think they're undefeated.
Yeah, mate. I've watched them.
Yep.
They're going to stay undefeated, I think, until finals. They may get tested in the final series, but mate, they're good. They are. You wait till you watch them when we go down and do the commentary. Yeah. But that being said, mate, I thought the grand final for this was going to be played before the NRRRL grand final, but no. Harrow told us last week that the ladies' tackle grand final will be played on grand final day.
That's what I like to hear.
So 5 grades. 5 grades on the NRRRL grand final day. Hopefully to be held at Oaks Oval. And, you know, we'll see how we go. But, mate, what a day. Geez, I'd love to get onto that commentary. I think we're going to have a chat to Bar TV through our media manager.
Mate,
Bar TV, seriously. I mean, great coverage of the games in the NRRRL. But, mate, every time there's a Saturday game, just pick up the phone, mate. Pick up the phone. You know, we're ready to go. There's a whatevs for you.
There's a whatevs.
Chris and the Foxy, Gingy and the Foxy are ready. If Bar TV are out there and willing, we're ready to take up a few games back into the season on a Saturday. We hear you pay a good dollar, and we're up for that too. So, look, we're definitely interested. We'll go through our media manager, Goffey, and we'll make sure that, you know, we try and get a couple of commentaries in over the coming weeks in the NRRRL on a Saturday. So there you go. That's a top 6 in every grade for the NRRRL competition in 2023 after round 10.
Good stuff,
mate. This back end. I can't wait. As a coach,
as a
fan, I can't wait for the back end of this season. And as I said, this is going to be one of the best semi-final series in every grade the way that we've just read that top 6 out. I'm so looking forward to the back end of this season and that semi-final series. Like, if you're a rugby league fan, whether, it doesn't matter which club you support, get out and watch some great games of footy these last 6 weeks of the competition, and really enjoy yourselves. Yeah. Take your family. When you can get along to a Saturday game, get along to it. On Sundays when you've got no junior league, mate, pack a bloody esky and jump up and take yourself to a local game of footy. I'll tell you now, you won't go away from there disappointed.
5 great games on some days.
On some days, yeah, mate. So get out and get out there and support our local game. Go. Go.
What happened there?
Let's say yibbity. We're not there yet, but anyway, we'll get on to that, mate. So let's just jump into the next phase of what we're doing. We'll do a bit of a whatevs.
Whatevs. What do you got for us?
So, mate, I've given one up. I'm hearing that the Bilambil halfback that's been there for most of the season could potentially be out for an extended period of time. I don't think that's going to impact too much, because I'll tell you one thing, and I've said this a few times now on our podcast, if there's one thing that Bilambil can always produce, it's a good half. They always produce good halves. So they've just had another young kid step up on the weekend, and obviously with the win that they had, mate, got the job done. So, best of luck to the young kid that played halfback for Bilambil at the start of the season right up until last week. We wish you all the best in your recovery, and hopefully you get back before Sammy's and, take part in your team's run, at the back end of our season. So, that being said, mate, you want to... I know you had a bit of whatevs around some rumours you've heard.
Oh, yeah, just some rumours I've heard with, Casino going the way they have been, forfeiting reserve grade and stuff. I've been hearing a rumour that Ryan Walker maybe to lower.
Oh, okay.
But it's just a rumour.
I'll tell you what.
I don't know if it's true.
If that's true, mate, you're going to be the owner of the biggest whatever moment this season.
That's just yarns I heard. Speaking to a couple of people over the weekend.
On the grapevine?
Yeah, I don't know what's
Does it bear fruit?
I don't. Look, I don't.
Is it
I don't.
Is it a Sultana?
Personally, I don't see him going.
Yeah, he's not that sort of person.
I heard like he could be going there or Port or just those two. But look, I think
honestly, mate,
he's put his hand up for a job. I think he's going to be there.
And look, I've always taken Ryan. He's a man of his word. I know it'll be a tough circumstance for him right now, being, Casino not travelling as well as they probably want to be. It was always going to be a tough gig, no matter who was coaching, whether it was Ryan, whether it was anybody else, whether it was some bloke from out of town coming in or whatever. It was always going to be a tough task going to a Casino and trying to... It's a rebuild, mate. They're going through a rebuild. They're not in denial either. They know that as a club. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out between now and the end of the season, and what goes into next season, mate. So, if that does happen though, as I said, it'll be your biggest whatevs moment for the season. Yeah. So we'll just see how that plays out over the coming weeks. We might just keep an eye on that.
Yep.
So, outside of that, mate.
Mate, did you get to the canteen on the weekend?
Actually, mate, I'm going to be really honest.
You did.
Do you know where the Coogin dressing sheds are?
Yeah.
There is no way 5 weeks out, 6 weeks out of, 5 weeks out of hospital, I'm walking,
mate,
walking from that dressing shed into the canteen at Coogin.
It was 30 metres from the bench.
Mate, the dressing shed is 2 kilometres from the bench. Seriously. I mean, look, no,
well, Gingy, I got there.
Those sheds are great, by the way, but they're just in the wrong place. They're actually different. They're actually not even on the ground. But anyway. That being said, I didn't get to the canteen, but you did.
I got there, and as you know, I'm on a diet, so I was very disappointed because they had Pluto pups. I love me a Pluto pup, but I couldn't get one.
You couldn't get one?
That's why I was hoping
you couldn't get one because you wanted the healthy choice, or you couldn't get one?
I wanted a healthy choice, so I went. You know what they had?
Well, I don't know. You tell me, 2 bites.
They must have watched. They must have watched the show because they had. What do you call them? What do you call my rolls, mate?
Salad rolls.
The big foxy
Yeah, the Big Foxies.
Big Foxy.
Did they have a Big Foxy?
They had a Big Foxy.
How was it?
It was pretty good. It was all right.
That's not what you told me. That's not what you told me in the car on the way home. But anyway,
it lacked a bit more salad, but mate, it was a healthy option. So
good work. Well done. Well done, Kudgeon, for the. I keep saying believable. Well done, Kudgeon, for the healthy option for the Foxy roll. The challenge this week, my
kids loved it. They had noodles. There was noodles in the canteen.
Oh, there you go.
Cups of noodles. My kids were all over those.
That's an interesting canteen choice.
That's an interesting canteen
in the winter phases. So
my kids were onto it. So
yeah, well, I might even go, mate. I'll tell you what, I might even go to the Northern United canteen and ask for a noodle box. Is that? Was it a noodle box or was it just a cup? Oh, yeah. Okay, good. I was going to say they've gone all.
No, not a noodle box. A cup of noodles.
Okay, there you go. My mistake. Sorry, Kudgeon. Okay. So, mate, I've got one other what
they're
else.
Not at the top, but they're in the top 4.
Who's that?
Kudgeon canteen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got one more whatevs moment.
Okay.
And my whatevs moment is Tanya Booth. Where are you? Like, what's going on? Like, why are we need you on this show? We you know, we've had the Harrow experience.
Yep.
Which was great, by the way. Oh, mate, I've got some great feedback from that.
Harrow's
done it. Harrow, that was an eye opener. It was a really good. I love that time with Harrow, but Tanya Booth, the challenge is out there. Harrow's jumped in and done his bit last week for the competition, and we'd like to throw the mic now to Tanya Booth as part of the New South Wales Rugby League. Mm-hmm. Mate, the next week we'd like to get you on, and if it is via our new Zoom, there you go. So we can either get you on a Zoom, or if you want to come in live, mate, we love that as well. But either way, let's get Tanya Booth on next week if we can.
Goffy's got a bit of work. Here live.
Oh well, we better come up with a bigger backdrop.
I don't think you want to get in between this. I think you might have to be a Zoom.
Yeah, it could be a Zoom. But anyway, so that's probably it. That's my only other whatevs moment.
You're pretty quiet this week.
Mate,
not much whatevs for me.
Oh, mate, look, I think it's that sort of a competition at the moment. It's everyone's focused. Everyone's.
There's not really many chances for people to go hopping to other teams now, is there? It's nearly cut-off date.
It's nearly cut off, mate. Cut-off date is in 2 days. So if you're at your club, don't even bother asking for a release beyond Saturday.
Nope.
Or beyond Friday.
You have to sit the year out.
Sit the year out, or you know, enjoy yourself playing rugby league for the club that you're playing with, is what I say.
Yep.
Mate, I want to have a bit of a chat now, and I know we're off. We want to go and have a bit of a the old free flow session. Remember that?
We haven't had a free flow.
We haven't had that for a while. So
all right, let's go.
We're going to get into it. We're going to firstly go to.
I'm just going to have a quick drink.
We're going to firstly go to have a bit of a look at the NRL. You know, we want to have a bit of a chat about, you know, a few things that we've had the Origin hiccups.
Talk about the Dragons with Benny Hunt.
The Dragons,
is that
you know,
you're going to?
Oh, mate, well, it's like anything. Just going on to the Benny Hunt thing. I mean, the Dragons.
Just quickly, because we don't like spending too much time on the Dragons.
So Benny Hunt, stay or go?
Mate, he'll go.
He'll go.
He'll go
before the end of the season.
Would you want someone that doesn't want to play with you?
I'd make him sit out for the rest of the season and not play anywhere. But
I'd make him play reserve grade too. But it's a lot of money in reserve grade.
Yeah, I get that, and I think that's what it's going to come. Actually, you know what? I actually think that's what it's going to finally come down to. I think it's going to be money or nothing.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's either. To be totally honest, though, I can also understand where Ben Hunt's coming from.
Well, you're a coach,
I'd hate to be playing in that club at the moment with when the boardroom seems to want to run the club and be the coach.
How long ago did he sign his contract?
2 years ago.
Did he sign
last
a
year?
new one
Last
year?
year.
Or last year?
Last year. So I think he's got 2 years remaining.
Okay.
So, but he won't. There's one thing I will guarantee: he definitely won't be there next year. Mate,
is a new coach coming in?
Oh, yeah, Flanagan. Yeah, there you go. I wonder if he'll take his son with him.
Well, I think he's on the market.
His son?
I think so.
I've got one bit of advice for you, Flanagan. Flano? don't sign him. Seriously. I think he needs to go
Stop looking at yourself.
I think he needs to go to England.
All right.
But anyway,
we'll wait and see what happens there. With
mate, I want to ask you.
Yeah?
What's going on at the Knights?
Mate, I've got no words, eh?
I've got a word for you.
Yeah, what?
It's called 2 words. New coach.
Do you think it's the coach, though?
I know. I'm telling you what the word is.
Yeah, new
coach. I'm not saying do I think you need a new coach? I'm telling you what's happening.
I know, but do you think that's still going to solve our problems?
I'm going to be honest. Everyone sits back and says, the coach we've got to get in a new coach. You want me, honestly, my honest opinion from the outside looking in.
But why do you think that? Is that because they've lost these games?
I'm gonna be really honest about my opinion on what I think. I just think their culture stinks.
Yeah.
I think it's a culture thing, mate, in the club. I don't think they get the buy-in from the playing group that they need. I don't think players that they've brought in from outside of Newcastle get Newcastle, the one city team. I don't know what influence, but I do know that they play under a lot of pressure with the Johns factor now. Even from the inside looking out, mate, I think the Johns influence plays a lot of influence, whether we like to think so or not. I know they say they have nothing to do with the club in relation to who comes and goes, and they probably don't. But that being said, mate, they're in a whole world of pain.
Mate, I just wish we can throw the Chief back out there. Joey, Matty, Leo Deliver, Robbie O'Davis.
Yeah, you're going back a long way, and I don't think that's even going to fix your problems. But anyway,
I really hope NRL expands and brings in another New South Wales team, because I'm jumping straight on that team.
South Newcastle.
I don't care where it is in New South Wales. Anywhere
well, mate,
in New
I'm going to throw you a lifeline.
Yeah, throw it to me.
Take my advice. Utilise my experience.
No, I'm not going for the Dolphins.
Well, you said a new team.
Yeah, but I refuse to go for a Queensland team. I thought about changing to the Dolphins last year, and I was keen, and I've just gone, I can't go for a Queensland team.
You've tipped Queensland two weeks in a row when it came to Origin.
Thanks, Sportsbet.
Mate, that being said, there's been some interesting movements the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
And I don't know whether this is going to work. It could. It may backfire. But Manly have signed 3 West Tigers players.
3?
3.
Luke Brooks.
Tommy Talau. Yep. And they've also signed another young kid.
I'll leave this to you because you're an ex-Tiger.
Oh, mate, I hate the club. So I'm not even... I just think they've... Don't get me wrong, I think they've...
I think a change for Luke Brooks is going to be good.
Oh, mate, I totally agree. I think the Tigers and Luke should have parted terms 2 years ago, but that's just me.
I think he needs a change.
Tigers could have developed a young kid.
I think he'll benefit with Daly Cherry Evans there. I think you might see Luke Brooks go to another level next year.
It's funny you say that. That's actually what I feel is going to happen. I think Tommy Talau hasn't really flourished at the Tigers. I think he's a kid with a ton of potential, but they also thought this would push young Josh Schuster out of Manly because he's 5'8", as you know. But he got told last week that he's got to be. He's not. That was his last ever game at Manly at 5'8". Mm-hmm. He's got to be satisfied playing in the back row or leave the club. Mm-hmm. Guess what he's done?
What's he done?
He's bit down on the bullet. He's sacrificed. He signed a 2-year contract and he's staying at Manly and playing in the back row. Mm-hmm. So good, me personally, good choice. Good choice. Because I actually think that's his spot. That's his spot. Yeah. So a bit of movement at Manly. You've still got the top clubs punching it out. You've got South Sydney at the moment on a not so good run. 4 losses in 4 weeks.
Sorry, Cody.
Well, South haven't won a game, as we said, since Cody got interviewed by us. Cody, we've just broken the drought. You don't have to worry about that anymore. You now can move on with the rest of your season and make sure that you get the job done for South without Latrell for the next 3 or 4 weeks. I still think they can. So the top of the competition, I don't think there's going to be too much movement in the top four. I think that's going to be sustained as it is what it is right now, which is obviously Melbourne. I think you've got Penrith, Melbourne. I think the Broncos are on the cusp, and then the other team, I'm not quite sure who's the rounding that out. Don't know. So yeah. All good. So that's the NRRRL.
I reckon.
No, that's the NRL.
NRL. I reckon to finish up, mate. Have you got anything to talk about in regards to the Lismore knockout? Seeing that you,
mate, I'm the coordinator. Yeah, I'm the
knockout
coordinator this year. I think there's a few interesting things. We've been definitely receiving plenty of interest. But here's some interesting information for all those listeners out there. If you're a club and if you're a team that's participating in the Lismore knockout this year, you need to make sure that you ensure you get your nominations in or a part of your nomination payment in by the 7th of July. And for the simple reason is that means you're able to go onto our apparel provider, who is Strutty Sports, and order your gear.
Strutty Sports.
That way you will get a choice as to your design, your colours, your whatever. They are the major apparel sponsor for the Northern United Rugby League knockout this year in 2023 at Lismore.
So, mate, what happens if a club misses that date?
If a club misses that date...
They just get a...
No, there's a second date. If they miss that date, they have up till... They can still nominate their team to participate in the knockout in the women's or the men's. They can nominate their team still beyond the 7th up until the 14th. If they nominate between the 7th and the 14th of July, they will actually get what they call ready-made apparel. So they may only get a choice in colour, but the design they won't. It's the ready-made apparel. They can go in and choose from the current designs, which means they'll still get their gear provided to them as well. They get their shorts, their socks, their jerseys. If they want to go out and the shorts and socks and the jerseys are a must through Strutty Sports as part of our one of our major sponsors this year actually for the next 4 years. We've got a partnership agreement with them, so they will be our apparel sponsor, similar to the Murray Knockout up in Queensland.
Beautiful.
So that's it. And outside of that, probably the only other thing to mention in the knockout would be that if they do need to get if clubs want to get their shirts, as they do normally do as well, the shirts they can actually they can get those whoever they want from.
I'm telling you, get out there and go through Strutty's though.
But Strutty's will be the Strutty's deal is probably better and will match the other ones anyway. So grab your shirts. They can do shirts for you as well. You get your shorts, socks and jumpers. But they're the two important dates. The 7th.
So anyone out there that's interested in putting their team in a knockout,
make
sure you get in early.
Get in early. Yeah. Design your own jumpers, colours, whatever. And if you come after the 7th, you'll actually take the designs that are already set.
Have you got many team nominations so far?
Mate, we have. We're actually in the men's. We're up to about, I think the last count, we're up to about 16. And it cuts off at 22 teams.
Ooh, so not many to go.
No, not many to go. And for the women's, we've got a cut-off of 12 teams, and I think we've got up to about 8 so far. So we've got 4 women's teams. So
and I think we need more interest for the 15.
Yeah, we haven't.
Going to go ahead.
Well, for the 15s to go ahead, those nominations have to come in within the next 2 weeks. Otherwise, they're cut out. Okay. That's it. We won't have a 15s. We'd love to have it. We still might do if we don't have a 15s knockout, we might have an exhibition game before the final of a 15s game.
Good stuff.
So that's it for the knockout.
You're all over it.
Yeah, mate. Well, being the coordinator, I have to be all over it. So,
is that it? Any other knockout news?
No, but for those clubs that are out there, if you want to contact me, it's 0434 415 652. It's 0434 415 652 for the Lismore knockout.
So does that mean you being coordinator, are we still commentating or what?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You're not going to be too busy?
Mate, good coordinators strategically pick good people. We coordinate. That's the job of coordination.
Good work.
So, but anyway. We might even have some special guest commentary throughout as well. So, mate, you may have someone sitting next to you, and no doubt when you play, There's a whatevs moment. Who are you playing? Let's make an announcement.
I'm going to have a game.
You're having a game?
I'm having a game.
There you go. You heard it first here on the NRRRL Wrap, the Gingy and Foxy Wrap. The big Foxy is playing in this year's Lismore Knockout for the drum roll with...
Cabbage Tree Island.
There you go. He's the front row for Cabbage Tree Island.
No, I'm on the bench.
Front row for Cabbage Tree Island. He might think he's starting on the bench, but we all know how Des operates. Les will be starting. Front row for the Cabbage Tree Island team at this year's 2023 Northern United Lismore Knockout.
The crowd's going to be huge.
It's going to be massive. It is going to be one of the best events.
You've just put your gate sales up.
Mate, it is the biggest event on the Lismore calendar. No, I'm seriously. This is on the local Lismore calendar through Lismore City Council. This is the biggest event of the year in Lismore. So,
which leads me to my last question. Do you think the field's going to be ready?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%. Field's 100% going to be ready.
Okay.
Mate, Oaks Oval and I think the Gordon Pavilion will be completed. So will the new...
I can't wait.
Where me and you will be sitting. So will the new corporate area, the new where you go out on the balcony on the deck. That's going to be ready. And guess what? Goffy will be with us.
Yes.
Yeah. Proudly sponsored by Mark Goff Media Sport. So that being said, before we do go, we will like to thank our sponsors for the Gingy and Foxy NRRRL Wrap. Yep. And that would be ILH Constructions, the best Indigenous construction company on the Northern Rivers. We've got M&K Business Solutions.
Yep.
If you need a business solution, go to M&K Business Solution. We've got Mark Goff Media Sport.
Yep.
We've got Sarwood Timbers or Sarwood Supplies, Building Supplies.
Those boys that are waiting out the front for us.
Hearn Security. Agency Design. And the best spot in town, the G Spot. Mary G's and Strutty Sports. There you go. Look at this. Have a go at the hoodies. Have a go at the hoodies. The Strutty's proudly sponsored by. There you go. If you want a Northern United supporters hoodie, we're getting them this weekend at the Strutty's will be also at the NAIDOC round this week. V Evan said. Strutty Sport with all the apparel.
What's going on with the Gingy and
we got them coming, mate. We're saving them. Special event. I'll just let it play out. It's happening, brother.
One job, Chris.
Well, there will be a special announcement made in the coming weeks in relation to Strutty Sports too. I will definitely.
I'm excited.
Yeah, you should be. And so I'm
actually some gear though.
You will. I'm more excited than you, brother.
I'm way more excited.
So it will be great news.
Yeah.
There will be some special announcement on that. But Strutty Sports will be at the game this weekend. Clifford Park.
They're going to have some gear.
They will have a lot of gear.
Get down there and get some Strutty.
They'll also be there to talk to any of those teams that are participating in the Lismore Knockout around your designs for your gear. So they'll be there to have those conversations as well. So make sure you come along if you're a team that's participating in the Knockout. Come along, talk to Strutty Sports, talk to the design team, have a yarn to them, and we'll get that all worked out as well.
Beautiful,
mate.
It's been a great show.
Geez, that's a deja vu moment, then, mate. It's been a great show. Back to basics. Back to basics. Eh? There you go, mate. What a great night. That's another wrap. There you go. Thank you to the audience. Thank you to Mark Goff Media for his great job behind the cameras. Thank you to all the clubs that are allowing us to talk about what's happening in your space. And more importantly, thank you to those people that pay their money through the gates, which are you guys, the supporters. We'll be seeing you next week. That, my friends, is an NRRRL wrap. See you next week.